Good afternoon, all who are watching this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Please like the video. Please watch the whole video. It does help us get seen. I know I haven't been putting out a lot of content right now, but I'm hoping to get some more as this channel gets going and gets a little bit more active. I'm working on some other pieces of content right now, but today's our content is going to be on abortion and what's going on inside with these Supreme Court leaks. So without further ado, we're going to switch to video, and we are online. So hello everyone, it's me. No, not that I'm anything important, but making a video here. So the title of this particular, I wrote down like a little title. I said, "What if Roe versus Wade is overturned?" What if it is? A lot of people nowadays think that abortion is going to be federally banned all across the nation. You know, they're using these gaslighting phrases. They're using these alarmist words to say, well, if Roe versus Wade is overturned, abortion is going to be banned, federally banned. Well, no, not right now, because we don't have a partisan majority in either houses of Congress. So we don't, even if we had a simple majority, we still couldn't override Joe Biden's veto, because he's not going to approve a bill to ban abortion. It's not going to happen. They just introduced a bill to codify abortion into the U.S. Constitution. We're not going to pass abortion laws right now that are going to federally ban abortion. Although I would support a federal ban on abortion, but I know there's more factors to think about than simply just saying, well, you know, we should ban all abortion. And there's more factors to think about than that. So it's not as simple as a lot of people make it out to be. We'll just ban it all and it'll be fine. Not really. The Constitution never really intended for, number one, it never intended really for us to be at a point as a society where we can approve, or where we can say, well, we approve or disapprove of the murder of human beings. They considered murder a capital crime back then. You suffered the death penalty if you murdered someone in the day of the framers of the Constitution. So will it be federally banned? No, it will not. Of course not. It's going to return to a state-based decision-making process, like a lot of other things are. It's going to be reserved to the states. It's going to be, say, look, state and local level, you can decide how you want to treat this issue of abortion. Obviously, places like California and New York, some of your more liberal states, are going to be they're going to be really abortion sanctuaries, no doubt. But places like, Texas and some of the deep south, like I think it was Mississippi, or whichever one passed the heartbeat bill, Mississippi or Alabama, one of those that passed the heartbeat bill. One of those heartbeat bills is like, they're probably going to be like one of the more strictest laws on abortion. They're going to have some of the most strict laws on abortion in the country. And you know what? That's okay. That's what our Constitution intended. Is it okay that we're having to debate whether or not we should kill children? No, that's not okay. That shows the state of moral depravity of our society. But nonetheless, we should consider how this is going to affect the state level of legislature, because, like I said, it's going to go down back to the states. It's not going to be federally banned. Number one. Number two, the Supreme Court doesn't have that power. They don't have the power to legislate from the bench, although they have been doing that for many years. They don't have the power to do so. That is an overreach of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not have the power to make laws. The Supreme Court does not have the power to legislate in any capacity. They have the power to review and reconsider legislature that has been passed by Congress, but they do not have the right to legislate from the bench based on some kind of landmark case. Roe v. Wade, Obergefell versus Hodges, just to name a couple of recent examples, or a couple of hot button examples today. The Obergefell versus Hodges case in 2015, and then obviously Roe v. Wade, what we're talking about today. Those are two of the many examples of the Supreme Court trying to legislate from the bench, and that is not how the founders intended. The founders intended for Congress to make legislation, and the Supreme Court to verify that legislation according to the Constitution. Should a case arise that merited the verification of that. You see what I'm saying? But now, the way that the abortion thing was treated, it was treated as though, well, the Supreme Court's the final word on that. Well, yes and no, because other courts can challenge it. Congress can override the Supreme Court at any point if they want to. Will this criminalize abortion? Well, no. It's not going to criminalize it because it's not going to federally ban it. If it was a federal ban on abortion, yeah, it would be criminalized. Again, there's all this alarmism and gaslighting that the pro-abortion advocates are giving out. Oh, they're going to ban abortion, they're going to ban women's health care. They're making abortion sound like this great thing for women. It's really not. These terms, federal ban and criminalization, and these extreme terms are being used to gaslight people, being used to put fear in people so they'll panic and say, well, we got to defend the right to women's health care. What do you mean the right to women's health care? Is women's health care killing a child? Is that what it is? And that's the whole issue nowadays. People are just using these extremist terms. They're using these type of alarmist ideals to say, well, look, see, they're trying to put fear in you, like, oh my goodness, what are we ever gonna do? And it's just this. It's emotionalism, but it's almost hilarious. It's almost funny to watch these people just they're constantly using these terms, and it's like, okay, eventually, at what point do you stop using extremist emotionalism and start thinking rationally? Well, the problem is, if you think rationally, science is on the side of the pro-life advocates, because in the 1970s, we didn't have all these modern scientific advancements. We didn't know all the stuff we know today. The abortion case, Roe v. Wade, is based on outdated science, really. That's what it boils down to. Even if someone wanted to argue, well, it was a valid decision that the Supreme Court made, although it was not. They legislated from the bench. Nonetheless, if someone wanted to argue, well, they didn't legislate from the bench, it was a valid decision, well, now that precedent needs to be reviewed and overturned because it's based on outdated science. You see what I'm saying? And you can go to many pro-life websites and look at some of the scientific things. I'm not a scientist. I can't name all of this stuff off the top of my head. I know the main thing people point to is the imaging that we have today, the 4D imaging we have, that we can hear and feel the child inside of the mother early on in the pregnancy, not just right before they're born, but just early. I'm not exactly sure of all the scientific details. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to try to go into that because I will probably mess something up tremendously. Excuse me. Well, and the last thing I'm going to talk about here, in addition to science being on the side of the pro-life advocate, the Constitution is on the side of the pro-life advocate, because the Constitution says nothing about abortion. The people nowadays, well, they want to say, well, it's your constitutional right to have an abortion. Well, who says? Who says it's a constitutional right? Well, the Constitution sure doesn't say that. There's a lot of things that we have nowadays that are not in the Constitution. Separation of church and state is not in the Constitution, nor is the idea. Abortion is not in the Constitution, nor is the idea. There's this elusive idea that the right to privacy extends indefinitely. I'm not for indefinite privacy. If your privacy means you get to go murder your own child, I don't think that's not right. John Adams said our Constitution was intended only for a moral and religious people, and it is wholly inadequate for the government of any other. That's what John Adams said. One of our founding fathers, by the way. And the key words there are moral and religious. Without those two things, the Constitution will not be interpreted and applied as it should be. And we have abandoned morality, we've abandoned religion as a society, true religion, not just some new age emotionalistic crap. We've abandoned true religion, and it shows. There's not an explicit right to privacy. I would argue to an implicit right to privacy, which means basically that as the Constitution states in various places, all rights not named here are reserved to the people, basically. Whatever rights aren't in the Constitution, whatever powers aren't in the Constitution that are delegated to the government, are therefore delegated to the people. We have rights and we have delegation of powers in the Constitution. However, a higher law exists than the Constitution. It is God's law, the moral law. The key factor is if a baby is a human life, from the moment of conception, it matters not what is or isn't in the Constitution. Abortion would be murder because it would be the unjust and without cause, forceful taking of a human life. That is called murder, and that is prohibited in God's law. Whether it's codified in the Constitution or not, it is still wrong. And for example, if you use slavery, for example, in early America, the African slave trade was legal. It was illegal. It was a legal thing that people did. It was to support the economy, is what they claimed. Folks like John C. Calhoun and some of those guys, they argued that slavery was a positive good for society. The founders argued that it was a necessary evil that had to be eradicated eventually. But some guys, as you got closer to the Civil War era, a lot of those guys that are pro-slavery advocated for a positive good. It's the same way with abortion. Abortion is being advocated as a positive good. It was never necessary at all. It was never a necessary evil. It was never necessary at all. So in that respect, it's not comparable. But in the respect that people are now arguing for something to be legal, and because it's legal, that means it's good? Not necessarily. Slavery, the African slave trade was legal in the United States at one point, but it was never good. It was not good. It was good for a short time for people who were on top, but it was not good for everyone. It contradicted the ideals that are in the Constitution. That all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, such as these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, slavery contradicts liberty. Abortion contradicts all three, because it's a taking of a life. Therefore, if you take a life, you take away that liberty and you take away their happiness. And you take away their right to the pursuit of happiness. And so that's where we get that the Constitution is completely against abortion. Abortion is against the spirit of the Constitution. It's against the text of the Constitution. And it surely is against the text of God's law. The moral law says that murder is wrong. And if a baby in the womb is a human life, which it is, according to science and scientific observation, then abortion is murder. This has been a pretty short video, but I wanted to put this out there. Kind of a hot button issue right now. The Supreme Court is supposed to make a decision, from what I hear, near the end of this month. Hopefully and prayerfully they will make the correct decision in overturning this overstep of justice in the Supreme Court of the United States. Thank you for watching, and remember to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.